The season could not have started any better for Sunderland. After spending all the money in the world on reinforcing their squad, they took to match day one at home under the sun, and they absolutely took West Ham to task. Now, in the eve of that match, Sunderland had already confirmed big money signing from Paris Saint-Germain, Nordi Mukiele, and a transfer that just further magnetises me to what's going on at Sunderland, because this is another player out of the Quinny playbook, a guy that I'm a big fan of, and I think really complements the fabric of the rest of the defence that Sunderland have been building coming into this season. But right off the back of that news, in the post-match, it sounds like they are hunting down Jhon Lucumi of Bologna with even more conviction and intensity. And I know Sunderland fans are going to be happy about how the team is sitting at the moment, because they have got quality, they have got options in depth all the way across the defence. The midfield is shaping up really nice, and in previous videos, and I think in the match, we can see that Sunderland are maybe still missing a bit of a missing piece, a missing link between midfield and attack. I know the game against West Ham went well, the goals were scored, were beautiful, very well worked for the most part, but there was long stages of that game where you really did feel that there was a disconnect between the rest of the team and the attack, and in some stages the attack was just quite isolated. Like Talby would be in 1v2 situations, Adingra the same, Mayenda was quite hard to find in moments in the game. And Habib Diarra did a great job of trying to connect back to front, and I think he is going to be the main water carrier for Sunderland to do that role, but I think he needs a little bit of help, and I think that could be what is the business that's missing for Sunderland. Because now when you look at Mukielli coming into this, with Trey Hume signing a new contract, Sunderland rejecting the Wolfsburg advances, you then start to think, okay, this guy's going to be a main player in the squad potentially. But Mukielli is a guy that can play at right back very formidably, right centre back and a back three very effectively as well. But after the performance that I've seen of Ballard, I think this guy, and I'm sure you guys will agree, is going to be a mainstay in the defence. But Sunderland, we have seen them tweak last season between 3 at the back, 4 at the back, that sort of thing. And this move with Mukiele, I think, is just a real masterstroke to really complement the rest of the defence. Like Alderte and Reinildo, you've now seen in Premier League action. These guys are all cut from the same cloth, where they're really powerful defenders, really smart on the ball, and are very good in possession. Now, in the 4-3-3 sort of shape that we've seen from Sunderland at the weekend, I could see Mukiele coming straight in at right back over Hume quite easily. Similar to what you get from Reinildo over here in at left back, you can get the exact same thing out of Mukiele in right back, in the sense of if you're against a tougher opponent or you're against the run of play you're having to defend, can tuck in to make a back four of like actual defence. And from what we've seen at the weekend, Xhaka and Siddiqui are doing a fantastic job at screening this defence. And Sunderland, I said it before the season kicked off in terms of how they were shaping up, but I think we've seen real proof in the pudding against West Ham that they are going to be extremely difficult to break down. And Mukiele takes this side of the defence to a whole new level. I thought Hume was quite impressive the first time I've seen him, but one thing about Mukiele is this guy is destined to be at the top end of the Premier League. I don't think he's going to be at Sunderland much longer than a year, and you're probably going to end up selling him at Man City for 50 or 60 million. Formerly of RB Leipzig, he came through in the same team that had Ibrahima Konate in it, who's now at Liverpool, and I think you'll all agree has been a very dominant centre-back in the league, and Deo Upamecano, who moved on to Bayern Munich and has been very, very effective. Now with Konate, you've got like the mountain kind of base defender, the guy that is like powerful, really good in the air, very offensive as well at set pieces, still very good on the ball, very Leipzig of course. And with Upamecano, you have the kind of shorter recovery, quick defender guy that's going to sweep up at the back and be a defender's defender for the most part. And Mukiele for me was the most well-rounded of the three. He could do. He's built like Konate and can play like Upamecano. I am not over egging this guy at all. You are going to love him. And at right back or right centre back of a back, if they do play 3-5-2, I think Mukiele with Reinildo or Alderte can really take either one. This would be a very formidable back three, and quite an attacking back three as well, because we've seen Mukiele play in this sort of shape before for PSG and for Leipzig, where if Hume or Talby or Rigg or whoever wants to play on this side of the pitch here and go forth in attack, he will support as a right back if they're going to act like the right winger, and he can be very effective at doing that. He's big and powerful, great running power, and arriving late in the box on this overlapping channel is something that he is very, very good at, and you're going to get a lot of joy out of it. Equally in this 3 in the back system, because they are pushing for Jhon Lucumi, I've put Masuako out here, but if it was to be like this type of 3-5-2, maybe it's going to be a bit more attacking. But if we put Mukiele into the right wing back position, we don't think it'll be Masuako. Let's imagine it's Reinildo playing in this position. We bring Alderte back into the team, And then let's imagine that Sunderland do sign Jhon Lucumi. Is a high quality back five? I really don't think for the money. I know Sunderland have spent a lot of money, but this would be a defence that is going to be, it's going to take a lot to break it down. It's going to a lot to beat it. And with some of the guys that don't feature, like Masuako, Hume, even the boy Sealt that come off injured, and maybe one or two others, Sunderland do have a lot of depth in defence, as we've seen on the first screen. And Mukielli and Reinildo, I think their versatility and what you can do with them, left centre back, right centre back, full backs with a 4-back, full wing back, you know, they can actually do every position required, and I think that's going to give Sunderland a great degree of versatility. The midfield three is probably going to stay quite consistent for the most part, but you might imagine in a team like this, maybe Siddiqui doesn't start, but it's Enzo Lafy, or you know, it could be something else. Lafy can also feature in these types of areas here as the left winger, left midfielder, and they kind of cheat with how they do it by readjusting the rest of the squad. And with this, you can then get Isidore and Mayenda back up together as a front two, and with Diarra kind of bombing on and supporting, that might work out quite nicely. Because I did feel the 4-3-3 shape here. Talbot, I did say when you signed him, I'm not too sure he's ready for the Prem, and he might get there. He definitely didn't look out of his depth, but you can tell that he's coming to this level rather than being at this level, if that makes sense. Adingra was a few further steps down that path and was a wee bit more convincing. But I do think Diarra has got a lot of weight on his shoulders here. I expected to see a little bit more from Xhaka. And if we look at the quality and depth that they do have in these forward areas, like Paddy Roberts I love, obviously. Big Gooey, I don't think anyone is totally sold on yet. Isidore was great from the bench. Him and Mayenda are probably fine as like an A and a B. Like they're both number one striker. Just depends on who's fit and who the opponent is, who you start with, who you finish with, that kind of situation. And I think Adingra, Talbot are fine. But I really think now Sunderland, one more transfer. We do expect Lukumi's going to come in, right? But on top of that, one more transfer. Can they go out and get that X-Factor player? They could be a wide player that is like a winger, a guy that's very front-footed, that when Diarra is breaking out the pack, it's the main guy he's looking for to help play make with him. Sometimes these guys maybe even like dropping into these little pockets off the wide area and having players to play off them in that regard. Whatever it is, whatever sort of profile it is, Sunderland are needing something else in attack. And I don't think it's to score goals. I think there is goals in the team, but it's to create chances, because I think that might be the sticking point for Sunderland for how impressive they're going to be defensively. How much goals and offensive capability they have might just go a little bit untapped, and in some of those tougher games they become draws rather than wins, or they maybe lose by the odd goal where they could have got a draw. And if you're the powers that be at Sunderland after the first game, you have got to have ultimate confidence that the transfer strategy has been working. So far everyone is a hit. I don't think anyone has not come in and been effective in that first game, and you can't see that the other ones that are yet to appear not making a similar impact. So can they go and splash the cash and go and get a marquee forward player to just finish the job? And I've got Sunderland projected at 13th. If they can do that, I really think Sunderland could be top half contenders. It's Burnley away this weekend. I think Sunderland are going to get the business done here. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out of that game with another clean sheet. And I think, you know, we had a lot of plaudits and praise come out for a number, especially the defence, of course, and the goalkeeper. But I think this game, it could be a game for Habib Diarra, so watch out for that. If you're going to the game, if you're a Sunderland fan, enjoy it. Travel safe, stay out of trouble. On screen are now some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Transfer analysis, post-match breakdowns, Premier League predictions, and kind of everything else in between. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one.